Welcome everyone to the welcome to Love, Life, and Marriage with the Woods. I am Saiko.
And I'm Sharon.
And welcome to our and welcome to our channel. We're trying to get our act together. Some people don't know how to act already, as you can see. But anyway, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel. Please do the following. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell at the bottom of this video. That way, whenever we go live, post any content, information, things we want to keep y'all in the know on, you'll be one of the first to view it. Also, if you would like to support this ministry financially, you can do that by clicking the donation link information below. We definitely do appreciate those of you who have been supporting this ministry, this channel, with your prayers and your tangible gifts. We do appreciate it. This is how we're able to do what we've been doing. So we definitely appreciate that and love all of you for doing so. Facebook family, welcome. We see you. Welcome, Charles. Welcome to the live. Welcome, my brother. Facebook family, YouTube family. Thank you all. Moderators, thank you all. Appreciate that. Congrats on quitting. Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining. We definitely have some announcements to share with all of you. We do appreciate it. So please tag a friend, tag a loved one, a brother, a sister, an associate. You can even tag some enemies. I know they probably would love to.
Might as well.
Yeah, might as well, huh? I know I got quite a few of those. But anyway, definitely thank you for joining here on today. So we do have an announcement. We as you see on the thumbnail, that is an actual resignation letter that I turned in over 2 weeks ago to my former employer for almost 5 years. Almost. It would have been 5 years. It would have been almost 5 years come July. Matter of fact, July 2nd would have been 5 years. So anyway, we have decided to hang up our I guess you can say corporate world hats. You want to call it that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we have decided to step away from the corporate field and to get involved into full-time content creating and also ministry. Yes, ministry. And we'll share with you how that took place. We have been sitting on this for almost what?
Almost a month now.
Almost a month. But how long have we been,
talking about it?
Yeah, talking about it. How long have we been?
A minute.
See this guy right here. Moderators, if this guy right here makes one more crack, you go ahead and put him on 45 and have him tied to a chair in oncoming traffic and just walk away. Don't worry about the horns and the air horns blowing and nothing like that. You just go ahead and just let the consequences of nature take its course with this guy right here. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, no, you're not. Don't lie. No, you're not. No, you're not. There's nothing good in you. No, not one.
Leave Corey alone.
No, you need to leave me alone. Anyway, but listen. So go ahead, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Please. That's how we get the numbers going through the algorithm, and people can get this information as well too. So, but let's go ahead and get started there, because we do have some things we want to share with the viewers and those who have been following and been praying for us, and we do appreciate that. And we're just going to keep it real with y'all. We don't sugarcoat anything. We keep it a stack with all of our viewers. I believe that is one of the reasons why you all appreciate and love the content and the videos that we do. So also, real quick, before we get started, I know we have about 75 people right now that are watching. If you have not yet subscribed to the Love, Life, and Marriage channel, we are actually simulcasting and live streaming both the BCV and the Love, Life, and Marriage channel, because we want to get those numbers and those subscriptions up. So that way, when we want to go live, we don't have to use the BCV channel. We're going to be opening and creating another channel just outside of the BCV and outside of the Love Life and Marriage channel. I'm going to be also using that one, hopefully, to address social issues and things like that. We're going to do Bible studies and teachings like that. So I'm going to be trying to spreading out with that. But if you have not yet subscribed to the Love Life and Marriage channel, we would really, really appreciate. Yes. Really appreciate it if you did.
Please do so.
Yeah, please.
And tell your friends too.
Yes, please. And so we're going to be doing more Q&As, more live Q&As.
This is not just for couples, y'all. This is for singles also.
Yes. We want to cover all bases as much as we possibly can, and even bring guests on the live as well too. We want to do that through the marriage channel if we can, so that way we can have that type of audience to come through that channel and help build it up as well. So anyway, but we do appreciate that. So let's get started there. All right. It is February the 9th. Mm-hmm. February the 9th. And I have been home for over almost a month. Matter of fact, January the 12th was my last day actually working. That was my last day. We made the decision. And notice what I said. I said we made the decision to decide for me to go ahead and hang it up and to come on home and to do what we believe the Lord is calling me to do. Now,
who put the bug in your ear?
Who put the bug in my ear? I wouldn't call you a bug though. You're a fine bug though. You're a ladybug. Come on now. Come on. Listen. Okay. So those of you who have been following our journey, right? How long? Matter of fact, put up a 1 if you have been following our journey with my wife working and then deciding to come home and then finally coming home. Let me know if you have been following us that long.
Yeah.
That way you can kind of where we're going with this, with the history. We're talking about probably 3 to 4 years. If you have been following us and have been tracking and just going with us and walking with us through our journey together. So let's see. Okay, yeah, look at them. All of them. Let me put some of these up here. Thank you so much, Amanda. Thank you, sister. You put your volume down, ma'am. You don't listen. Yes, it is. It was.
I didn't do that.
It was. You need to be paying attention. You need to focus.
I didn't do that.
Yes, you did. So look at all these people that have been following us. All right, man, that's what's up, y'all. We appreciate that. So y'all been tracking with us that long. Okay, so
cool.
Then y'all know basically we have been praying. Initially, my wife had started working. Hey, Tamika, good to see you, sister. How my brother doing? Cure for the Soul. What's up, girl? Listen, y'all need to go over to Cure for the Soul and subscribe to that girl channel. That girl is a beast. And she from the D2. What up, though? But listen, you need to go over there and subscribe to that channel. That girl has been putting out some crazy content on the Grammys and all that. I'm telling y'all. I mean, her numbers just went through the roof. It really has. And so congratulations to my sister. And this is what it's all about. Isn't it what it's about?
Yes,
supporting the body of Christ?
Don't get me started on that.
Okay. Yes. Well, we're gonna touch on it a little bit though. We're gonna touch on it a little. Yeah, because it ties in what we're doing. Okay. And by the way, we don't.
Right. It does.
Listen, we don't have a script. The channel is still unscripted, right? We may have thoughts and ideas, but we feed off each other. We give and go. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, definitely appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. Sheila, you said you are new. Yeah, but you've been following us for a couple of weeks, but welcome. So you're about to find out our little journey in just a moment. So anyway, y'all been following us. You know that my wife had started working. Give us the year so people can know.
I started working in October of 2018.
2018. Mm-hmm. And what caused you? Prior to 2018, how long had you been at home? Stay-at-home mom and wife. Wife and mom.
I have been home since 2008.
2008. Okay.
No, 7.
2000.
Because it was right before I had Madeline.
Okay.
Yeah, right before Madeline.
Okay.
And I quit my job then and came back home, and then 3 years later after
Mhm.
Malin was born, then Kaylin came.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, I've been home ever since then. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So now, what caused, or what were some situations and circumstances for for you to, or for us to decide for the time that it would be best and helpful for you to get back out into the workforce and to work?
Well, we had been talking about it. Well, there were some financial needs
Mm-hmm.
that came up for
Mm-hmm.
us, for our household,
Mm-hmm.
and you
Good to see you,
asked
brother.
me,
Mm-hmm.
would I have a problem going back to work? Now, I appreciated that because you asked me.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't say get out there and get a job. You asked me.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. And so we put that on our little list.
Yep.
We made our prayer list, so to speak.
Yep.
And we would go to Starbucks.
Yeah, we
Starbucks.
did. Yep, we did. And why did we always go to Starbucks? What was up with Starbucks?
Because
yeah, come on.
Because that particular
Bring
Starbucks,
Bring them in. Yeah.
That particular Starbucks knew us.
You talking about the one on the one up the street right here?
Rustic Lake.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Okay.
They knew us. The manager knew us.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime we walked in, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Woods, getting your usual today.
Yep.
They had our stuff fixed.
It had it right.
They would have it done.
Yeah. Shout out to her, but I don't know where she at now.
She moved up, so then when she left, the store just went.
It just went down.
Downhill from there. We don't even go there anymore.
We don't.
Because it's not the same.
Yeah, we just get Starbucks.
I don't even go to Starbucks anymore.
We make our own.
Yeah,
we do. I mean, we got our little what is it called? A pod thing and curator. Yeah, whatever. You got that. Curating stuff, whatever you want to say.
So anyway, and we started praying over that. We made it very specific.
Yes, we did.
We asked the Lord to bless me with a job.
Yes, we did.
We said we wanted it to be something easy, not stressful. We said we wanted it to be close to home.
Yep.
We said we wanted it to be a smooth transition.
Yep.
What else did I ask for? Oh, the hours. I wanted the hours to be, commensurate to our family. Because we still homeschool. Yep. And those were just a few of the things that we prayed about and specifically asked the Lord to do. Yes. And I can sit here today in 2023 and testify that He answered every single request.
Prayer.
Every single request.
Yep.
He answered it.
Yep, He did. He sure
did. And even then some.
Yep, He did.
Gave me even then some.
Came alive.
I had the most chill job.
Since you ain't working anymore, tell the family, tell the YouTube and Facebook family, tell social media land, how cush was your job, Miss Woods? I'm gonna take a sip right here.
My job was so cush that I would watch the news when because I had to be there at 7:00 in the morning. Well, actually 6:45, but and my coworker and I, we were always, skating in, waiting when we were supposed to. But he understood that, and I understood that too. So it was no big deal.
Soul, ain't it?
It was no big deal. We weren't late. I mean, we never opened the bank late, so that was not the case.
But she had a cush job. That's all I'm saying.
I would watch the news on my phone.
What did she do on your phone?
I would play games on my phone.
Play games. What?
I watch TV on my phone.
Play games, y'all. I'm out here hauling freight, and she up here playing games, and then the kids be like, "Mom, can you please do some work?" And she be getting on the kids nerve, like, "Mom, don't you want to be working?" She's like, "I'm just checking to see how y'all doing and stuff." Less than 15 minutes away from the house, y'all.
Oh yeah, less than 15.
Now probably 10 because if there is a DPS or law enforcement officer that may be watching this live, I have nothing to do with the speed and velocity that this woman that the Lord has given to me drives. I have told her, I have admonished her, I have lovingly rebuked her. Now this spirit has transferred to my other two daughters. And what kind of spirit is that?
I have a heavy foot.
It's the Speedy Gonzalez spirit.
I have a heavy foot.
That's what it is. Yeah.
If I take my shoe off, then it's even.
Notice this. Notice all this that I have to deal with. But y'all think I'm the problem. So you have your Lavinas, you have your Natashas, you have your Cure for the Souls. Leave Miss Sharon alone. No. What about me? What about me? What about my feelings? What about me and how I feel? But anyway, so she basically had every prayer answered. And the interesting thing about this, and reason why we're going this route before we go to where we are.
Giving y'all a little background.
Yeah, so just bear with us, okay?
So and I had a good coworker.
You had pretty much a very good team.
I did.
You did.
I did.
So it was a blessing. It was an answer to prayer. It was something that we had asked the Lord to do, and he faithfully did.
He did.
And so we asked for the Lord to move. He did, and then we pivoted. How long before after we said, Lord, thank you? They would say, okay, Lord, about this job. Can we bring her back?
I would say it was at least 3 years in though. And so we prayed for me
3
to come
or
home.
2?
No, 3 because we prayed for a whole year for me to come home.
Okay.
It was at least a whole year before
because the goal was for her to come home as soon as possible. Once we got some financial goals.
Once we got everything situated.
We wanted to make that happen. So
we graduated too. Got those first 2.
That was a huge break. That was a huge break. It really was.
Because that means that the tuition went down because we were only paying for 2 instead of 4.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. And somebody had asked the question before we continue on. They said, Slave of Christ said, have y'all done a video on your homeschooling experience? Any good resources on starting the process, challenges, advice, time dedicated to it, ideal work schedule, or demand for husband and wife? That's a good question. Thank you. We have not really touched on it, we've touched on it. We never really
we didn't dive into it.
Yeah, and I think we need to. Yeah, that'll be a great idea.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources out there.
Absolutely,
a lot of resources.
Absolutely. And super chat. Let me see, Kevin. Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
So yeah, be great. Good to see you, my brother.
Good to see you.
He got a new. You got a new job, boy. Boy, that's what I'm talking about. Let me give it to you. Bear with. Here it come, y'all. Here it come. Congratulations, my brother. Congratulations. Yes, he has a new job.
Oh,
Congratulations.
That's great.
Amen.
That's
Appreciate
wonderful.
it, man. That's good. That is great. All right. So anyway, so back to the transition, right? We was talking about you working, and we prayed about coming back home, right?
Pivoting up to us praying about me returning home.
Yes, and we did this every day. And we did this every day. Every morning we would go to get ready to go to work. And so we just decided to say, okay, Lord, we weren't ungrateful. We were not ungrateful, but we just knew that by God's grace, He had allowed us to be able to. We prayed that He would allow us to transition and to bring her back home. Okay, because we believe that she was more effective at home than she would be, of course, being at work and trying to, do all the home administrative stuff and then school, homework. But God was good. But God was gracious. God gave her the grace to do that for the time that we did, right? But there was a transition. Okay, there was a transition. So we prayed, asked the Lord to allow her to come home, and there was some hesitation. I would say there was some hesitation that was going on because we wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
We wanted to be sure.
And I would say it was on both sides, wouldn't you?
Yeah. It was more so where we were trying to make sure that it wasn't any knee-jerk reactions of us, trying to just, get it, if you can use that term, get ahead of God. But I hope you understand the spirit behind what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we did, and so I think my wife was like, okay, here's what I want to do. Here's what I think we may want to work toward doing. And so we talked about transitioning and her easing herself back home. So this is what she tangibly did. She would take her checks, and she would act as though basically we're living off of mine. And I said, okay, so. One day I asked her, I said, hey, I said, did you get your check? Yeah, I got it. I said, okay, you gonna put it in there? Oh, no. Remember I told you we supposed to be, I'm gonna put it in and save it. I told her to put it in. I was like, Okay, so you
baking that now?
Yeah, I said, we doing that now, huh? She's like, yeah, we doing it. So she treated it like, look, she treated me like, hey, look, okay, sole breadwinner you shall be. We gonna see how this, and ironically, and in a strange way, it just started to work itself, like that. Now, we're not trying to give anybody any pie in the sky, story. But because of course
everybody's situation is different.
Thank you. Everybody's situation,
household is ran differently.
Yes.
Everybody's debt is different.
Yep. So the worst thing you can.
Some people like debt.
Listen. But the worst thing you can do is compare your family, compare your situation to somebody else. Number one, God says don't do that.
Yeah.
Stop comparing yourself amongst yourself, because all that does is create covetousness. It can create bitterness. It can create jealousy.
Yes.
It can create confusion in the household. I mean, envy, all of that. So don't do that.
Yeah.
Do not compare your situation to anybody else's. Thank you, sister, for the super chat. Thank you, sister.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, sister Sheila. We appreciate it. Do not do that. We would tell y'all, make sure that you and your wife, you and your husband come to an agreement with how you are going to function and run your house. Because you know why? It's your house. It is your house. So if you're focusing on your house, focusing on what God has called you to do, trust me, everything will work itself out in due time by God's grace. And so for us, that's what we had to do, right? That was the other thing. What made her decide to basically pull the trigger on this thing and come home was what? I mean, you start doing the videos. I told you to start chronicling. Your videos.
Well, yeah, but we already knew what was coming then.
Okay, but I think we had my birthday. Was my birthday? You just
that
quit.
Was my last
you just
day.
quit.
Yeah.
So prior to that, what were you doing? When did you give your notice?
In September.
You gave your notice in September.
I gave them 30 days. I gave them a 30-day notice. I didn't give them 2 weeks because that was the type of relationship that we had, and I wanted to. And I know how hard it is to find somebody to replace you, especially in finance and that type of thing.
Right.
So I gave them 30-day notice.
Yeah, she was in banking. She was in banking, and
for them to find somebody else.
Yeah. So she did that. So basically, let's fast forward. So she came home. Okay, she came home.
So you said what? Mm-hmm. What was the tipping?
Yeah,
thing?
What was the tipping? Yeah. What was it that you say? Okay, you know what?
Oh Lord, I'm about to sneeze.
Yeah, your tissue. You need one. Bless you. Here.
Excuse me. Thank you. I don't need any tissue.
Okay, but just in case.
Well, I know for us during the pandemic, a lot of companies were making mandates and things like that.
Yeah.
I was gracious. I was grateful rather that my company did not.
Yeah.
We did not receive an email that said we had to do this or not.
Right.
But I could tell there was starting to be a shift. And then also there was some issues with, how do you say? I don't want to say management per se.
Just say personnel or whatever. I mean, but
just
some changes.
Personnel. Yeah, it was just
personnel changes.
A lot of changes that were being made. A lot of requirements.
Yeah.
Not per se health requirements, but educational requirements.
Right. There's things that you knew. You know what? I already know it's not going to be something I'm going to continue doing, and so you started like planning your exit. Yeah. So. So when you decided to come home, how did it feel coming home? I mean, realizing
after I got home, or when I was planning to come home?
No. When you actually came home.
When I actually came home.
Yeah.
It felt like I was back in my element. If that makes sense.
Now that's key, y'all. Yeah. That's key. Because you know what God, I mean, you can't really describe it, but when you know that God has called you to do something, you will never be satisfied until you do what it is that God has called you to do. It's going to be that incessant, perpetual gnawing of just wanting to get in the place where God wants you to be.
And let me just say that during the time that I was working, first of all, I had to get up at like 5:30. And I am not.
No, she's not
a morning person
at all. I'm the morning person. She's the night owl. Okay?
I am not the morning person.
We do shift work. Like,
yeah.
So let's real quick. Elected by God, brother. Thank you so much, man. Don't even know these people.
Oh, that's nice.
Don't know this brother. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat, elected by God. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
But yeah, so he said that he had been following us for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, for 2 years, and he said he didn't realize how much we've been a blessing to him, and we really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
But yeah, so go back to your. So she's not a morning person at all. Nan.
No, and when I first got the position at the bank, I started out part-time, y'all. I started out part-time. I worked every day during the week, and I had to work every Saturday.
Yes.
But my schedule was so nice to where I think 2 days out of the week I had to be in at 10.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 days I had to be there at 12.
Yep.
And the bank closed at 4.
Yes.
And then on Saturdays it was 9 to 3.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I mean 9 to 12. Yes.
That's right.
Just 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah. So, but yeah. She's a night person.
Yeah.
I'm the early riser, and I've been that way since I was a teen. As a matter of fact, I've been that way since I joined the military in '88. Okay, that's how long it's been. So let's just give you a little bit of the dynamic of what we do. Case in point, my wife yesterday.
Oh boy!
No, we're gonna talk about it now. We're gonna talk about this. Yes. Yes, it does. People need to know what kind of people they're dealing with, and what make us do what we do, what make us click, what make us function. So,
okay, go ahead.
She's the night owl. I'm the morning person, right? So, I'm in bed. I'm trying to go to sleep. Okay. She watched an entire season. An entire season. It was only 5 episodes, but it was that entire season for that particular show.
It was only 5.
You see that? That's how much she went through them all.
It was like 7.
See, okay, but not okay. So she watched it, and I went to sleep. She couldn't stop.
I couldn't stop.
Not only couldn't she not stop, but then she leaves the TV on.
No, I turned the TV off last night. I did. I didn't watch King of Queens. I didn't watch any of that. I turned it off because it was late.
You turned it off. You said last night.
Mm-hmm.
Last night.
Yes.
Key word. Last night.
Okay.
So any other night the TV is on, watching both of us, right? The remote is on her side of the bed, so I gotta do like doggone Mission Impossible and reach over and do all this stuff to get to not wake her up, although I'm woke up because the TV on. But anyway.
See, that doesn't wake me up. You can turn the light on. That's not gonna wake me up. I don't care. I'm not that easily.
Yes, you are.
You know.
When I try to tip out the room, she wakes up.
Well, yeah.
Make that make sense.
I do.
That just.
Oh, he listened to sermon audio.
Sermon audio, man. Brother, cool. Appreciate it, man. You got some history with us then. But yeah, so I get up early in the morning, 3:30, maybe 4 o'clock, and it just for me when the house is quiet, I'm able to do. I'm more effective to do what I need to do in the morning. And I've been that way since I was a young teen. But so our schedules it overlaps a little bit, but when I'm tired, I'm tired. I mean, when I'm done, I am done. Yeah. But she can stay up, and then I'm like, okay, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Why? Why are you up? You and then she goes to sleep, and then act like I am so tired. I wonder why.
When have I said that?
You get up at what time? You get up. You go to bed at 2. What time? What time you start
getting? Go to bed no 2 in the morning.
What time you went to bed last night?
It was like 12:30.
No, ma'am.
It was 12:30.
No, ma'am.
I know what time the last episode.
Okay, so what time you go to you on average go to bed? Midnight?
Yeah.
Maybe 1?
Yeah.
Because King of Queens and Everybody Love Raymond comes back on again. You didn't watch it earlier that night, and then it comes back on again. I'm like, okay, did you not just see this? But anyway,
it'd be different seasons. So
okay. So anyway, so back to what we were talking about. Now, you asked the question, what made me come home? She said, what was the bug that made me come home? Again, not a bug, but she was the one that was basically like, okay, now it's your turn. I'm like, my turn? What you mean my turn? I'm like, in my mind, ain't no turn. Okay, there's some things we need to do. There's some things we need to accomplish. Get in the shot, man. Get in the shot. There's some things we need to accomplish. There's some things we need to get done in my mind, right? Mm-hmm. And so she's like, well, all we need to do is this, and this. And then if we start on building up your channel and building up the marriage thing, and so she already has plans, right? And I had a problem with that. In my mind, I was saying, well, you know what? Maybe 2 years, give or take, right? Maybe 2 years. Then we can kind of like circle back on this conversation. I guess the Lord must have heard it. I guess he must have heard the conversation, because that's exactly what he did not do. So, fast forward to where we are today. So now, I'm working. My plan was to say 2 years, and we're going to, move myself into Exeter. Now, the goal was, what has always been the goal for us? Go ahead.
Our goal was for both of us to be in full-time ministry.
Why?
Because we know, first of all, we know what our gifts and callings are. Mm-hmm. And we are more effective when we can give 100%.
Yes.
Versus us splitting our time between serving 9 hours over here, or you serving 12 hours over here, and being in the truck and not being able to, devote time to that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times, I would ask you, okay, well, did you touch base with this person? Did you touch base? Did you call? Well, I haven't had time because I've been busy today, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then people would call you and stuff, and you can't really minister the way you need to when you're driving, because you got to pay attention when you're driving. Of
course.
So, but yeah.
So then what made me quit? Because I think that's what everybody's wanting to know. What precipitated, what was the root of me basically us deciding?
Really?
Yeah, really. What was it?
The mold.
Ma'am, this is a Christian program. We are saved over here, ma'am. We sanctified, Holy Ghost filled folk over here.
I didn't say anything. I just said the mold.
See? My sensor ain't on yet. I gotta add my sensor app on here.
Well, what if you need to put your finger over that beep?
I don't have one of those yet, ma'am. So you're gonna have to behave yourself.
Anyway.
So what was okay, that was the means. We know the ultimate cause, the Lord did it, right? How did this situation, I guess, occur to where we decided it was time to come home? The writing was on the wall. That's it.
Well, it had been on the wall.
Okay, so why you say it had been on the wall?
Because they kept doing the same thing over and over again.
And which was what?
Cutting your hours.
Was it just a few hours?
No. I mean, this was going from, let's say,
10 hours.
Yeah, 45 from 55
to
on
60,
up.
To
45.
If that.
Maybe.
If that.
Maybe.
If they're merciful.
And
if they're merciful.
Yeah. That and then the promising that they're going to give you this or they're going to give you that.
Yep.
And then don't do it and then make excuses for why they didn't do
basically
it.
Lied.
Right.
Just basically lying. I mean, and you, if y'all know anything about me, Yeah, I know I have my receipts. Mm-hmm. I've always kept my receipts. Didn't matter who it was. When you start, peeing on me and calling it rain or lemonade, then I gotta red dot you. So there were opportunities that were given to me or presented to me, and then when I accepted, it would be reneged.
Yeah, it's like hanging a dangling carrot before you.
He must have been a horrible spade player, because all he kept doing was reneging. Right. Renege. I mean, it was just, and I understand things happen in business, where things get slow and all that kind of stuff, but not to the level and not to the point to where it has now caused me to contemplate whether or not can I really afford to work here. Mm-hmm. I mean, have y'all ever been there before? Have y'all ever been to where you have to ask yourself, can I afford to work at this place? Can I afford to work at a job? Literally, can I afford to work here?
You driving across town, so that's gas.
So I get up 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. My shift technically does not start until 9:30. Mm-hmm. But they were what they would call appointment runs that would start earlier than your scheduled start time.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. So if my start time is 9:30 and you have a 7 o'clock appointment for me, then that gives me 2.5 hours. So now you multiply 2.5 hours times 5. And then you multiply that times the overtime that I would get. This is a lot of money. And then to have it taken away, and then to give excuses that aren't true. And then this continues to happen over and over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. As though you don't notice it. And then you want these individuals to give you 100% effort, but you're not compensating them for the work that they have done. And by the way, I've always been a person that would go to work early, just in case there were things that needed to be done. I had done that since I had been there, right? Yep. So I'm sitting back watching this and sitting back looking at how all of these things. So aside from the favoritism, aside from the all of that, right? I did my job faithfully, so right. But then it got to a point to where it was so bad I had to write the CEO of the company.
Yeah, so 10 pages.
10 pages. Aaliyah ain't got nothing on this. She only had 4. I got 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 pages. And it was detailed. And this company is supposed to be a Christian company. Matter of fact, the owner, the CEO, are Christians. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, so I said, Christian company. Christian values. Christian company. Christian principles. Christian company. Christian rules. In my mind.
Yeah.
So what I did was I appealed to the company based upon their biblical Christian principles. Now.
And you couldn't appeal to them through the doggone handbook because they didn't have one.
I knew she was going to say that.
What kind of company doesn't have an employee handbook?
They don't have an employee handbook.
That's on purpose.
They don't have an
employee handbook because they don't want you to come. They don't want to come back and say, well, because it's written in the book, you're supposed to do A, B, C, and D.
Yeah, they don't have an employee handbook.
So since they don't have nothing to refer to, they can do whatever they want.
And they did. And whatever they want is exactly what they did. Yes, the CEO. And oh, by the way, so the CEO, how did I give it to the CEO?
In his hand.
Just like that.
Yep. He just happened to be there.
He just happened to be there. And let me give you this. Now, this is funny because this was the same time you and I did our response to echoes and sound bites. That saying, oh no, it is what it is. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It is what it is. I ain't tripping about that. It was the same week. Matter of fact, the night before, I had to see the CEO who came to the company he basically made a visit to the company to tell about how the company was doing and things like that. I said, okay, well, there's no better time than the present for me to give it to him. So what I did was I started that Sunday to write my statement out. I had it finished and completed. And while I was doing that, my wife and I had wrote up our response to those people, AKA the mob. And that morning, we went to bed at 1 o'clock that morning. We did it. We started at 10 o'clock and finished at 1. Yeah. I got up at 4:30, left the house at 5:30, got to the job around 6:30, gave this letter to the CEO. He was surprised, and so were the people because they didn't think I was going to do it, but I did. And so one of the things I said was, I gave scripture because I was stating issues that were unethical, stating issues that were just wrong. It was demoralizing, and I laid it all out.
And this is in March.
This was in March of 2022, last year. That
started happening around January, February.
Yes.
Of 2022.
Yes.
So, y'all, this didn't just happen overnight.
No.
This wasn't a knee-jerk reaction to something that just happened one time.
No.
This had been happening for over a year ago.
Matter of fact, it even started happening before they changed managers because I had to write up a statement of complaint to HR when she was there about how they were treating me and things of that nature. So I just documented everything. Documented it all. And so what I did was I cited 3 scriptures, Colossians 4:1, masters, provide your slaves what is right and fair, because you know that you also have a master in heaven. Colossians 4:1, Matthew 7:12. So in everything, do to others that what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the prophets. Luke 6:31, do to others as you would have them do to you. And then I quoted the CEO's words to buttress how this is supposed to be a company that values all people, including their associates, i.e. their drivers. And so he said, quote, I would say that the single most important key to our success has been the philosophy that my grandfather operated the company on, and the philosophy that we still embrace throughout our company today. This philosophy is to take care of our people, who take care of our customers, who take care of our future. End of quote. And that wasn't happening. Now, this is I'm not blaming the president or the CEO because he's not everywhere to see what goes on. But you're responsible for your company. And if there are things that are not right, i.e., like you said, you don't have a handbook, then how are we going to hold people accountable? But you want us to be held accountable for things that we don't have any documented, rules to stipulate and hold by. But anyway. So this is a 10-page letter. I'm not going to read it all here. But my point was, in light of that, they caught wind of it. They caught wind of it. Management caught wind of it. I mean, it basically spread throughout the whole company. Locally.
Within, 24 hours? You got a call from HR?
24, 48 hours.
48 hours, maybe. 1 or 2 days.
Yeah. Contacted me, basically telling me, that whatever their location, whatever our location stipulates, because there's no handbook.
They have the right to do whatever.
They have the right to cut your hours. They have the right they have the right to keep you under 40 as long as your benefits, as long as your full-time status is not affected. But that was not the culture at the time, right?
No.
And we weren't living extravagant or nothing like that either.
No.
We weren't, right? I'm just making sure that that what I have is what I'm supposed to be, working with. I mean, I'm a driver. I'm a truck driver. I have all these endorsements. So why should I struggle over here when I can go somewhere else? And I'm not the only one. There are a lot of people who have done that at that location, at that company, who have quit because of mismanagement
and
or the lack thereof of personnel.
Mind you, these individuals are probably in their 20s. Yeah. Maybe 30s.
Yeah. Mid-30s, give or take.
Maybe.
That. So, yeah. So what made me decide? What made me decide to leave? What made us decide to say, you know what? This is it. We don't have nothing else here. I mean, it's pretty much then ran its course. It's pretty much where we need to go ahead and do something else because this is not working. Okay. So, it was one morning. We had, matter of fact, my wife and I don't know. Could you please tell her this? Oh, thank you. So this was what would cause us to say it was enough. So every morning, my wife and I, we pretty much talk, all the time, right? So that morning, I'm on the phone with her. I'm doing this was on the appointment run. Okay, remember I told you if they have appointments, early appointments before your start time, I was doing that. So all of a sudden, the manager comes up to me and says, "Hey, where are you going today?" I said, "I'm going to such and such. I'm going to my appointment." He said, "Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to let you do it. I have to get it to so and so." Just and she was on the phone.
Just took it right out of his hand.
She was on the phone when this had happened. And this wasn't a one-time thing, y'all. So I want y'all thinking that this is a one-time incident. Oh, man, they tripped. He left his job because of one thing. No. Nope. This 10 pages, y'all. 10 pages. 10 pages. So I said, okay. He said, well, can we talk in the office? I said, sure. Go into his office. Him and Han about, I hate to see you come in early. And said, now, mind you, I've been coming in early. You had no problem giving me these appointments.
Oh, but remember they had a problem with you doing that too before.
Yeah.
You sitting in the break room too long.
I'm always doing something. I'm always trying to get in and get out. I don't lag around, right? So the man tells me that he feels bad that, he don't have anything for me. I'm like, well, yeah, you kind of did, but you took it away. Thank you for the super chat, Sandra. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You just took it away because, basically, you can. Now, interestingly, what he took was what people didn't want. These drivers didn't want to do the work that I was doing. I had no problem. It's called hooking up sets. And if you know anything about trucking, it's where you have two 28-foot trailers that are connected together. And you would have to hook them, take them to the location, unhook them, and then hook up another set and bring it back to the terminal. I had no problem doing that because it was 2.5 hours of extra time, extra money. It was all good. Mm-hmm. Had no problem doing it. I didn't. So all of a sudden it gets taken away. And this was a consistent thing. You promise it to me, then you take it away. Promise it to me. And oh, by the way, I got the text messages to prove all of this. Mm-hmm. This is not just hearsay. So there was the particular position or the route was up for bid. I said, okay, well, he brought to my attention. If you want it, we just got to go through the process. But most of these guys, he said, are going to want it. So most likely you're going to be doing it. So I'm just going to let you start doing it. And I was doing it. The person that was in front of me, he decided to quit. He quit. I sent the manager a text message. I said, so is it safe to say that this position is mine now? Not yet. He texted me back, not yet. I'm like, wow, okay. Just games, right? So that on the 12th of January 12th, going to the office, like I said, my wife was on the phone with me. We were talking. He takes the assignment, the route that was given to me, and gives it to somebody else. And my wife basically was like, you know what? You don't need to keep doing this. I said, are you thinking what I'm thinking though? She said, yeah, I'm thinking what you think. She said, I've been thinking what I've been thinking. I said, okay. I said, and what is that? Because I want to hear her say it. I said, and what is that? And what did you say?
I said, it's time for you to get out of there.
It's time for you to get out of there. And then what? And what did I say to you? I said what?
I don't remember.
I said, are you sure? And I said, why? I said, why are you saying this? I said, why are you saying this?
You always ask that question.
I said, why are you saying this? Mm-hmm. And what did you say? You have to be paying attention, dear.
I have to interact with the people right too. I can't type over there.
Okay. Well, what did I tell you?
I don't remember.
Okay, maybe I just talk to myself. I'll just do that. So here's what I told you. I asked you, were you sure? You said yes. I said, thank you, Sister Sandra. Thank you so much. I said, okay, financially, where are we? You said, well, we have this, and then when you leave, then we'll just bid on what we have from what you get back. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay. I said, but now you do understand that I'm leaving. And you said, yeah, I know that. And she like, what? Yeah, I know that kind of thing. Yes, and so now we both agreed because we saw how this thing was just playing out. And here's what we're trying to say to some of y'all. Some of you all know that God is using situations to frustrate you, like He did with me, because sometimes we won't leave until He makes us leave.
Right.
And that is what He did with me. He basically
always does with us.
Yeah, He basically forced me out, but He used this situation consistently to say, okay, you know what? Okay, because like my wife was saying, I know what I'm called to do, and I know how effective I am when I'm in my element and in my lane and I'm in my zone. And then I would see things go on in the world. I would see people put up content, and I'm like, man, I don't have time to do that.
Yeah,
I don't have time to do that. Even if I wanted to, I'm working 12 to 13. Matter of fact, I'm up 14 hours a day, and I'm driving for 12.
Yeah,
that's a lot of time, right? So I'm looking at what I would desire to do, and then at the same time, I'm like, you know what, Lord, maybe I should, maybe I should, but then I'm like, no, not yet. I'm not sure.
You said, okay, we'll start thinking about it in a year.
I did.
We'll plan for a year.
Yes, I did.
And the Lord was like,
right. I mean, nope. he shook it, and so here's what happened now. So when we made the decision, ladies and gentlemen, here's where it starts to get good for y'all. And thank y'all for your patience. That day, when we decided that it was time for me to come home and to plan my exit, and I said, we both said it. I said, you know what, I'm done. I'm done, right? I'm done. He said, yeah, all right, we're done then. Later that day, I get a call from our church. Our pastor's secretary wanted to, my pastor's secretary contacted me and said, you know, Pastor would like to meet with you. And I'm like, meet with me? What do you want to meet with me for? Mm-hmm. You know, not in a negative sense. I'm like, what do you want to meet with me for? Now, ironically, he and I had conversations, you know, at our men's breakfast, which was a wonderful, excellent ministry, man. I'm glad that I'm able to, you know, be around other real godly men and have real conversations at the church that we attend. So so I'm at work. A few hours after me and wife decided that I'm going to come home, I get a call from the church. The pastor said he wants to meet with me. When will you be available? When will you be available? Now this is the 12th of January. Mm-hmm. I made the decision. I decided that I'm coming home. That's it. That is it.
But you were still at work, right?
I was at work. I was driving. I was at work. I was in the truck when I got the call. I was in my truck that last day. I was in my truck, got the call from the church. Pastor's secretary contacted me, said that the pastor would like to meet with you. When would you be available? I said, this is what I said. I said, well, right now I'm at work. I said, I don't have any time throughout the week. I said, I'm available on weekends. Mm-hmm. She said, well, let me call you back. Let me get with the pastor and see if he's available. When she did that, I got off the phone, and I don't know if I called you or I texted you or something, but then I said to myself, so wait a minute. I said, I just said that I'm done. So if I'm done, then I'm done. So when she called back, she said, well, will you be available on Saturday? I said, yeah, I'll be available Saturday. But then something came up. He had a funeral he had to attend to. And so I said, well, tell you what, I'll be there that Monday. I made the decision right then and there to take my personal time, because right then and there I said, you know what, Lord, this I'm not even going to be effective knowing what I know now about this place. Mentally, I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to give my all in driving. And driving trucks is no joke, ladies and gentlemen. You got to be mentally aware of what's going on. And so by God's grace, you know, that I've never been in any accidents or anything like that. But mentally, I was already tuned out. And I don't know if you've ever been there before. Have you ever been there where you know, when you're done with something, you're done? Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter whether we give you a raise. I'm done. I'm done.
It's like none of that matters.
None of that matters now. I'm done. It's like you can't pay me enough. You can't cajole me enough. You can't talk to me enough. There's nothing else for us to talk about. And here's nothing. I'm not even angry. I wasn't even angry. I was like, okay. So I said, let me take some time, get some counseling, and I did.
Yes.
I talked to some trusted men and some women, some sisters and brothers that we value and we trusted. Some of you are in the chat, and some of you know that we have these conversations, right? And so, but one of the pushes, I'll tell you this also. Well, two of the pushes were this. One was a sermon that I heard. Okay, one was a sermon that I heard from our pastor, entitled "Get Out of the Boat." Oh, and I was sick this day too. I had a very bad migraine. For some reason, my head was just throbbing, and I just laid down. And I don't get sick. I don't really get ill that much. I really don't. So anytime I'm not feeling well, then something is wrong. So anyway, and plus I hate missing church. So if I'm missing church, something is going on.
Yep. You said we left you. So.
Yeah. My wife and kids left me, y'all. My wife and kids left me alone. So I was watching it on the stream. They were at church, and then they talked about how the worship was. I'm like, man, I'm missing everything. I mean, they was up there shouting and stuff, and my kids said, my wife was getting ready. If they hit one more note, she was about to run. Her a little behind. She was about to run, about to take off. She was like one note, one symbol from running. But yeah, so the pastor preached a sermon from Matthew 14 verses 22 to 33. With Jesus telling Peter to come out on the water. Now, I don't know about you. I just know for myself. I know what the Lord was dealing with my heart and dealing with my family and my wife and I regarding the decisions that I knew that we were going to have to make. And it was that moment where the Spirit of God used our pastor to speak a rhema word. Yes, I said rhema. Yeah, I said it. To use and speak a rhema word, a right now situation to our situation, to help me to begin the process of stepping out of my boat and walking on faith and walking by faith in what God had called me to do. Yep. I'm saying that because it was prior to me making the decision that I even know anything about. Knew nothing about, the pastor getting ready to call me or anything like that. He preached that sermon a month or two ago, maybe a month ago, give or take, before, we decided. It was early this year.
It may have been.
It was this year. It had to be this year.
It was this year, but I'm saying
early January?
Maybe,
no, not early January.
Maybe a week or two. Maybe.
It couldn't have been in January. It had to be just before the new year because I quit in January. Yeah, I quit in January.
But it was the second week of January, right?
I quit the second week of January this year, dear.
Yeah, I know.
But he preached that sermon before.
So it may have been the week before or maybe the end of December?
It had to be before New Year. It had to be before the New Year. Okay. It had to be before the New Year. I know that for a fact. It had to be before the New Year. So anyway, so I was struggling. And it wasn't much. It wasn't much of fear than it was just uncertainty. If that makes sense, y'all. And so I'm listening to the sermon, y'all, and I'm just like, okay, Lord, you sure right. You sure right. He mustered up enough strength in my body for me to sit up in that bed and watch this sermon, wishing I was there, but watching that sermon, and it spoke to me ever so clear. Of course, she comes home and says, so, did you listen to the sermon? I said, yes, I did. Well, what'd you think? I said it was good. That's it. It was good. I said, yeah, dude. I said it spoke to our situation. Did all that, right? So I'm like I'm the one that's the only one that's dealing with this. But I said, okay, you know what? No problem. So that was one. That was one message that spoke to me. Another message that spoke to me was what my sister Latanya Quinn, aka Cure for the Soul, had brought on her channel. I forgot the name of it, but I know the phrase. I don't know if that was the name of the
Choose your heart. Yes.
Because I remember that. Choose your heart.
Yes.
And I remember where I was when I was in Livingston, Texas, making deliveries, and I had to pull over to the side of my truck and hear the rest of what this sister had to say. And one of the things she said was, nothing in life is going to always be easy. You're going to have to choose your hard. Thank you. Pick your level of hard. Pick your level of hard.
Okay.
And I said, man, And she was just going down through different scenarios. I mean, whether it was relationships, whether it is with job, whether it is health choices, whatever the case might be. Sister, you need to put that link in the chat so people can hear it.
Yeah.
You need to put that link in the chat, sis. Real talk. So that spoke to me. I mean, the Lord is like, just all up in my body, right?
And y'all, one of the things that we continue to pray during all this time and then before was asking the Lord to make it clear, to make it plain.
Yes.
Make it unmistakably clear that it is you speaking to us, and this is not our flesh telling us something that we want to do.
Right.
And it just seemed like he just kept lining stuff up. Yeah. Just lining it up.
Yeah. I mean, one issue, one scenario, one circumstance after the other. And this is the link, y'all. Y'all need to check that out. Really, I guarantee you'll be blessed if you watch it. I really do. So anyway, so those two messages, those two words were an encouragement to me. And in fact, let me see if I can share my screen with you all, and I'll let you have a listen to what we were blessed by. And this is a short, okay? This is a short, so you can probably go to the channel Impact Church of the Woodlands and check it out. So y'all can see that hopefully, and let me know if you can hear it. It's only a minute long, so check it out.
If you don't get out of the boat, you will never have an opportunity to see the power of God work. You will never begin the ripple effect. It will never have this continuous undulating movement outward to impact those around. There must be a moment, an event whereby you move out by faith and allow God to use you for his glory. You got to get out of the boat. So often people say, well, you have to explain and break it down and tell people again. No, you know what it means to get out of the boat. You know what it means. If you're seeking employment, let me tell you something. Don't think it's going to come and knock on your door. No, it is not. It's not coming and knock on the door. If you need a loan to get your small business going, let me tell you something. Nobody's going to come knock on your door. Just, hey, I got a space I want to rent to you. No, it's not going to happen. Getting out of the boat says, I'm going to seek, I'm going to. If you don't get out of the boat, you will never have an opportunity to see the power of God.
So that's the let me go back. I lost my train of thought. All right, so that's the sermon. That's a portion of the sermon, and that's just to whet your appetite. But you can go to Impact Church of the Woodlands and type up "You got to get out of the boat" or "Get out of your boat," and I'm telling you, that just like just blew the hinges, off for me. So when I made that decision, yeah, I believe it was, sister. I absolutely, I believe it was. I believe it was. Hopefully I'm talking to a sister. But I believe it was. I believe it was my confirmation. And again, this is why I asked one of the questions in the description. How do we know that you are walking in faith or are basically following subjective feelings? That's up to you to decide that. But when you know that God is dealing with you and you know that God is speaking to your heart, and this is why this past month has been a challenge when it came to, me doing a couple of videos, these few videos that I had when I had Sister Bevelyn and Edmay on. Mm-hmm. I know I caught some flack, and I understand that. But contrary to what some people may think, that sister didn't even know what our situation was. Right. But Sister LaTanya knew. Mm-hmm. Of course, my wife knew. And a couple other brothers and sisters knew what God was dealing with me about. And so all I can say was, okay, Lord, you know what? It's time for me to make that move. It's time for me to make that move. And here we are. So now we haven't even gotten to the good part yet. Here's the good part. So we made the decision. I met with the pastor, and we talked. And make a long story short, he presented me with an opportunity because our church is growing, and they're planning on making different changes and planning another location, ironically in our area. Ironically in our area.
Yep.
And so he asked me, would I be interested? Matter of fact, he first asked me, what are my plans? Do I plan to be in any type of full-time ministry? I said, my desire is to do that. I said, my wife and I, we do marriage ministry counseling, things like that. I have a channel. We do all that kind of stuff, right? No, it's called Impact Church of the Woodlands. Impact Church of the Woodlands, but yeah. I think you, and if not, I have to look at the link, but it should be, unless they took it down, because sometimes they take it down. Maybe you can find it. But it should be Get Out of the Boat. I think that's what it's called. But Sharon's gonna try to look it up. Oh, okay. You say okay. But so anyway, so I'm saying this to some of you because I know with all the craziness and all the the weird so-called prophecies that go on. No, we're not to believe every spirit. Matter of fact, that's what John tells us in 1 John 4. Do not believe every spirit, but test the spirit, whether they be from God. And he doesn't say test the spirit by the spirit. No, he says just test it. To see whether they be from God. Why? For many false prophets have gone out into the world. And I'm not saying that the word of God is not complete. Y'all know me well enough to know that it's not how I get down. But you're not going to convince me. You're not going to tell me that God does not use people to speak to his people. In some weird shape, form, or fashion, he does. I will say this as well. Remember, I did a lesson on Charles Spurgeon and him prophesying to people. Now, we have no problem with Spurgeon prophesying to people when the canon of scripture was closed. And these people knew exactly what this man was saying was true because it was for them. And all I'm saying is that know when God is dealing with you, know when God is speaking to your heart, and know when God is bringing someone in your life that you test it, that you don't just take anybody's word. No, you test it. You test it with the word. You make sure that what they're saying, number one, it speaks to your heart and to your spirit, and you confirm it with the word of God.
I couldn't find it.
Couldn't find it. Okay, don't worry about it.
Because I don't think it's labeled under that. It may be under the ripple effect.
Yeah. Look under the ripple effect.
It may be under one of
Look
those.
under the ripple effect. It may be, it's because he did a series called The Ripple Effect. Yeah.
Oh, did Proverbs find it?
That's the short.
Oh, okay.
That's the short.
Okay.
So anyway, I do also know this. I know that had I not made my step, there was no guarantee that God was going to make his. Now, he was already moving. Mm-hmm. He was already moving by frustrating situations, by causing me to try to, figure out how am I going to do certain things and to know when my time is up. And I can only say this, it was only by the timing and providence of God. Because once we made that decision and once I said that was it, that's when I got the call.
Yeah.
That's when I got the call.
And ladies, let me add this too. I know that sometimes it's, for some, I won't say everybody, but for some, it may be difficult for you to trust your husband's leadership. But it is important for us to trust that our husbands are hearing from God too, and follow him as he's following Christ, and not try to be a hindrance or a what should I say, a wet blanket. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When he tells you what he knows God is telling him to do. Yeah. Don't call it foolish or stupid, but you should be in support of what your husband is saying. Mm-hmm. And watch God bless you because you were submissive in following your husband.
Yeah. I would say also, so what does this mean for us? what does this mean for us? Because I know some people have questions as well. So what are y'all going to do now? How are y'all going to make it financially, things like that? God has been providing. God has been providing. Again, this opportunity that has presented itself, I didn't go looking for it.
Right.
I did not go looking for this ministry position at all.
And we still don't know.
We still don't know what the Lord is going to do, but we know it has been presented to us, presented to me, or whatever. And so, we're in the process. We're in the planning, stages of the process for us to get things going. I would say this: by God's grace, there is no fear in my heart. I mean, none. Yeah. I can't explain it. I can't even articulate it. Mm-hmm. Other than God will give you perfect peace whose minds is stayed on him. Isaiah 26:3.
And if he's not fearful, then I'm not fearful.
Yeah. And someone asked the question, what is the position? Did you mention? I didn't mention it. It's executive pastor. Executive pastor. And here's the interesting thing as well. It didn't matter to me whether I would be pastoring or being in a pastoral role. I just wanted to serve, and that was it. Yeah. And so I say that because in my mind, I'm like, hey, look, I'm good doing this right here, doing stuff on the side, whatever the Lord wanted me to do. But I knew I could not be effective being in that truck for as long as I am and still do what the Lord. I mean, he had to do this. He had to do this, and he is. He is. Thank you, sister. I appreciate it. Good to see you. Yeah, I know, huh? But yeah, so I'm really just going with God's flow with this, and we'll keep you all posted as things progress. But I wanted to share this with the body of Christ. With some of y'all been wondering, like, how is it he's putting all these videos out? Have y'all been noticing that? I mean, did I tell on myself that it was like, what's up with all these videos? Somebody said, "What's executive pastor?" That's a good question, Pastor. Pastor, I'm not the lead. It's just a title, y'all. And I understand. Trust me, I understand. You said the notifications were popping off. At least yours was. No 2-hour messages either. Yeah, I know, huh? Yeah, but we're still going through the process and what this thing's going to entail logistically and things of that nature. But yes, it has been asked for me, presented to me to consider, and so I believe this is where the Lord wants us to be. We have been blessed by the church, and we really have. Yeah. We have been blessed by the church. I mean, our family actually enjoys and loves going to church because the worship is just crazy. I'm not saying crazy bad. I'm talking about crazy good. Mm-hmm. The message, of course, is on point. I mean, we enjoy being in the fellowship. Yeah. We really do. And we have been praying for that as well, too. We have been praying to be at a place where we can worship God freely and hear the word of God and not have to worry about us saying amen or being people looking. I mean, we're free. I don't know if y'all understand. I don't know if y'all understand what I'm talking about. Hopefully, some of y'all do.
We don't have to clap like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, people are free to worship, and that was one of the things the pastor talked about in our new members class. He's like, man, look, we want people to be free to worship God. Mm-hmm. We don't want no dry dead, and you ain't got to be manufactured. We ain't talking about that. But we're just saying that people, you don't know what people are going through. And the worship team, they're just, man, they're phenomenal. They really are. And I just am blessed and grateful to God to be able to be where God wants us to be. And again, we don't know all of the details, but what we do know is that this is something that God is doing. And we're definitely pleased and grateful for that. Now, some of you all have asked as well, about ministry and about how we're, some people wanted to support and look, I'll say something else. walking down the aisle with Tanya. I've already stepped into the aisle myself on a few occasions. Y'all know what it's like. Y'all know what it's like. So, but some of you have asked and want to know how you can support. First of all, thank you. First of all, thank you for even asking that, because it does take money to do ministry. It takes finances to do what God has called us to do. And so the links are still located below at the bottom of our videos. You can always support the ministry that way. What we are going to be doing, we're going to try to have online counseling. Of course, privately for those who want to have private counseling, but we're going to start branching and moving that out. Because we know people have been emailing us. Matter of fact, one brother has mentioned earlier, have been wanting to have counseling. This is what we're also saying. We don't want to take you away from your local church.
Yes,
we're not sheep herders. Okay, what we want you to do is go to your local fellowship. Hopefully, and this is where this is the problem. A lot of churches don't have biblical counseling
at all, and a lot of the leaders, either they're not equipped, but they should be.
It should be, yeah.
Or they'll just blatantly tell you, we don't do that here.
Right.
And they send you off somewhere else.
And that have been said. I mean, people have been basically just sent off, like my wife just said, to other ministries. If you are giving your offering, and if you are giving your time and resources to your fellowship, to your local church, then they should be able to counsel you. That's supposed to be what is taking place. Mm-hmm. But I know in reality that's not always the case. And that's not always the case. But I would just say that we're here for the body of Christ. So we're not gonna turn anyone away. We're gonna always point them to, number one, the scriptures, and also help them to find a ministry or a church that is going to serve them. But we know that people have needs. We know that people are looking for answers. And so we want to use the ministry that God has given to us to be able to be a blessing to those of you. So those of you who want to do that, our email information is still on our channels. If you have not subscribed to the Love, Life, and Marriage channel, we would encourage you to do so, because that is what we're trying to use to push and to create more content, and to have more viewers to follow that channel, so that way we don't have to do these simulcasts, and the subscribers and the subscription base could be going toward that channel as well too. Of course, BCV, most of y'all are coming from that my original channel, but we want to push the marriage channel as well too. Yeah. And it's not just for married couples. It's love, life, and marriage. Yeah, so if you're single, if you're no longer married, if you're divorced. we want to cover all of that.
Yeah.
We want to cover all of that. And since you said that some people prefer counseling with you both as opposed to someone else. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so that's what we want to do. Okay. We want to be a blessing to those who have been a blessing to us. And so, that's what we want to let y'all know. I don't know what else you may have just to share, because I've been doing all the talking, but go right ahead. Speak from the heart, dear.
I didn't know if we were going to talk about or touch on, I know you mentioned briefly the website. Mm-hmm. I didn't know if you want to talk about some of the nuances that we plan to have on the website.
Ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, we're still working on it. We had a brother trying to
we got somebody working on it for us. Mm-hmm. Like Saiko was saying, we want to have a section there for counseling. Mm-hmm. For men, women, couples, singles.
Yep.
And do all of that and have that under one umbrella.
Yep.
Then have also, we had talked about having classes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Either pre-recorded.
Yep.
Classes.
Yep.
That can be downloaded.
Yep.
And yeah, so we talked about that. The other thing was,
you didn't bring your notes.
No, I didn't, because I didn't know I was going to go into it. What else did I say? It was a whole list of stuff.
Mm-hmm. It sure was, because you wrote them down. You had them all in your little links. You got to have a link of different ministries on the channel and stuff like that.
So the counseling would fall under.
Thank you, Brother Tavares. Thank you, man. Thank you, brother.
SNS
Appreciate you,
music.
sir.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, SNS Ministries.
Yeah.
That's going to be the counseling
umbrella
for that. So there's a lot of things we want to do. So please be patient with us. I know, like with the BCV merchandise, we're trying to find another vendor.
We gotta find another
because most of our hats that has been the draw, and so we want to create more designs. We want to create more merchandise. But for some reason, for the past year or so, the Teespring vendor that we have, they just stopped distributing.
They have some kind of rules.
Yeah.
For stipulations for you to even put the hats in the store.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the process of finding another vendor for us to use for our merchandise. And we're also going to have Love, Life, and Marriage merchandise as well.
Yep.
I designed a shirt, but I haven't signed off on it yet. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's exactly what we both want, so we can both agree on it.
So yeah,
because I don't want anything to look too feminine, but
And I don't want to look looking too cheesy either. So we're gonna, but I trust your judgment. I mean, I just want to do. I just want to teach. I just want to, do commentary, all that. I mean, but right now this is what we are. So we're like with video and editing and things like that. I'm doing that.
Now what about
my wife is. What?
Your other channel.
We haven't brought it up yet.
It's not launched.
No, because I got to change the name because there's somebody else that has that same name. So I want to.
Really?
Yep. Oh. Even though they don't have a lot of views, but y'all know how that is because somebody took my stuff, tried to lie anyway. But anyway, y'all know how it goes. But
Proverbs said that earlier. He mentioned that earlier.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Let me know, Corey. Yeah, we need to find one. Seriously, we do. We need to find another one.
Okay, cool.
Yep. But yeah, so. That's what we're trying to do, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. We just want to be obedient to what God has called us to do, and we ask for y'all's prayers. We ask for your support. We're not gonna be ashamed of that anymore. At least I'm not. I'm not gonna be ashamed. My wife is like, look, we ain't pimping nobody. No. You know what I'm saying? Nobody that we've been recommending are pimping anybody. Ain't no grifters over here. You know what I'm saying? But it's a labor. It's a labor of love, and it's also an issue of time. And devotion. So if people have been blessing you, then you want to be a blessing to people. Matter of fact, Paul even said that. He says, if I have sown spiritual things unto you, is it wrong? Is it bad? Is it a sin for me to reap the physical blessings from you? So it's a reciprocity there, and I think we need to always be mindful of that. That when we have people that are doing ministry, whether in your local church, if you're following people's channels and things like that, man, support God's people.
Yeah, and see, we were supposed to touch on.
Go ahead, you got a few minutes. Go ahead, come on.
Touch on that.
Talk about it
for just a split second.
Go right ahead, dear. Go right ahead. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before she goes there. The thoughts and opinions by Miss Sharon A. Woods does not necessarily reflect those of Love, Life, and Marriage of the Woods or the BCV channel.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Okay, y'all. We are brothers and sisters in the Lord, right? I mean, we are. Mm-hmm. So you would think that each of us would try to uplift, encourage, and support one another, right?
Yeah.
You would think that, right?
True that.
So why is it so hard in the body to have to we're acting like crabs in a bucket?
You want to give them an example? Go ahead.
Well,
that has been the struggle that I've been dealing with for I don't know how long. I mean, to be honest with you.
You ask someone to.
Again, this is. I mean, he ain't the only one. This person has been.
Yeah, but I'm saying just in general, even you ask someone to put you in touch with somebody else because you know that person has been in touch with this other person because you have something that would probably be beneficial and the platform that they have is big enough for you to be on and to support to get the message out, especially when this person is asking for people who have the kinds of qualifications that you have.
So Jason Whitlock he basically went in on the viewers and said that he blames, Jason Whitlock said this, he said he blames comedians and preachers. I don't know why he said comedians, but maybe because of the audience and the influence that they have. So he said he faults preachers and comedians.
And particularly black preachers.
That's what he said. Black preachers and comedians for what we see going on in our society amongst our people. Because the influence that we have, he said we should be doing more to better our people than for them to be, in the condition that they're in. And that resonated with me. I'm like, well, excuse me. Over here, I'm a black preacher, and I feel you. I want to be able to bring what God has called me to bear and to speak it in the spheres and in the realms that He may cause me to be. Right. So I know some people who know Jason Whitlock. Right, and every individual that I reached out to,
there was an excuse.
There's an excuse. I mean, and I'm just being real. Listen, y'all. I'm not hating. I'm not clout chasing. I'm not angry or nothing.
It's not even about that. It's not even about that. It's just common decency for brothers and sisters to want to uplift each other. We are all trying to get to the same goal. We're all trying to bring other people into the kingdom. That's what I thought we were doing. But it seems like folk would rather hoard their success instead of sharing it with their other fellow brethren.
It's the crab in the bucket mentality. Let's just call it for what it is. And again, for me, I'm just speaking for myself. I have by God's grace never used my platform and hoarded it for myself. Let's go there real quick. How long have I been doing this quote unquote social media podcast radio thing?
At least
how long?
Probably more than 10 years, right?
Yeah, going on 11 now.
Yeah.
Since 2012 is when I started the YouTube channel, but prior to that with Blog Talk Radio, sermon audio. So a lot of these cats that's out here, I've been here before they even came out. In fact, some of these same dudes, some of these same cats and catesses, I used to bring on my platform. We used to bring on my channel. We used to bring on my broadcast. And because if we're talking about body life, we don't play with that. We don't play with that. We really mean what we say. Yeah. So this is why I'm intentional. This is why we're intentional when we talk about supporting people's channels that we know that are good. You know what I'm saying? Like Latanya, like Corey, like Dinah, like Christina. You know what I'm saying? People that like that Christian fam and like Chelsea's Live Line. I mean, people that we have have either interacted with, have been following their stuff. They've been following ours. It ain't no click stuff. It's Christ that we're trying to promote. That's it, right? So if you have an opportunity to go in places that I can't, why would I stop you from doing that?
And like the ex-ABC channel.
I didn't even think about that.
That's a perfect example because...
Shout out to Kevin. Shout out to Anthony. Shout out to Billy.
Yeah, because even though...
Like that channel too.
Even though you started doing that, what, in 2019?
Yes, 2019. Yes.
Well, these brothers have picked up the mantle and are running with it.
They're gone. They're blazing.
They picked it up and running with it.
They're blazing. Yep.
And there's no competition here.
Nope.
They're doing the same thing, trying to get people out of there.
That's it.
That's the bottom line. That's the goal.
And they should be more so because they were in it.
I'm
an outside dude. I mean, I was doing this stuff because I saw an issue. I saw what God had called me to do, and I dealt with it. And I'm doing a little bit of it still now. But them brothers, they're the ones that's running with this stuff.
They were in it.
Yeah. So they've involved in that. They were involved in that cult. So why would I be like, man, shoot? Forget them, man. I'm not putting nobody onto their channel. No, I intentionally, when I realized that they wanted to do this stuff, I brought them on mine.
Yeah.
And I told people, and it will still tell people, go subscribe to their channel.
Right.
Go support their ministry. Why? Because we are in the body of Christ, ladies and gentlemen.
And unfortunately, this is how we got so many stab wounds in our back.
Ooh. My wife about to go there, y'all. She about to go there.
Even when we started that, people that were close to us, even in that time at the beginning, started getting jealous and getting a big head and started thinking that you were just too much. And they used lies and manipulation to try to cut you down and try to, make you seem like you were somebody that you weren't.
Right.
And that's usually the whole MO, well, he getting too big. He getting too, we're going to have to do something to bring him down a little bit. And
there was not one time where I ever wanted anybody to be like me. You know what my problem is? Folk, let me be what God called me to be. That's always been the issue.
Yep.
It's like, yo, do what God called you to do. Right. I'm gonna do what God called me to do, and we good.
Right.
It's like, yo, your style ain't my style, but I'm not gonna tell somebody not to support you because you're not my style.
Right.
Who does that, right? So, and we're not ranting, but we're keeping it real with y'all.
Yeah.
Because this is what we've always had to deal with. Always. Thank you, Average Joe's Tech. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Man, thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you. I do appreciate. Hey, Joe, what's going on, man? Good to see you, man. Good to see you, man. Long time no see, bro. Good to see you, my brother. Glad you're doing well. But yeah, so this is why I don't take too kindly when I see people trying to change individuals into what they want them to be. I'm like, nah, you're gonna have a problem with me, because I'm not called to be what you want me to be. I'm called to be what Christ has called me to be, right? So it's not. Yo, dude, man, look, y'all stretch your hands over to the East Coast. Stretch your hands over to the East Coast to Proverbs. That brother need prayer, but he crazy though. Love that dude. Yo, but yeah, so this is why, again, we are intentional about supporting. And let me just say this to you all as well. Let me say this to you all as well. It ain't always about money, okay? Mm-hmm. This brother said, this is all I can afford. He gave $5, right? Do you know what you can do when everybody gives something, or even if you don't have finances, but you have a skill, or you have an ability. It's this, man. Listen, body life. We playing with it, y'all.
It is.
We're underestimating the power of
exactly
the
what
body.
we say it is.
Golly, y'all don't understand. I'm trying to tell y'all.
Everybody has a different role to play.
Listen. Peter told the lame man when he was begging him for money, he said, "Silver and gold I do not have. I ain't got no money." He went Prince on him. He did. He said, "I ain't got no money." He went Whitney. "I have nothing. He said, "Look, I ain't got no money, but what I do have, I'll give to you." Mm-hmm. Peter had the gift to heal. Some of y'all have gifts that you are sitting on. You have talents and resources that you are sitting on that someone is needing for you to use.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking from experience. I'm not speaking on some high horse or some perch upstairs. No. I'm telling you because this is why I know what God has called us to do. Yeah, he called us to do it, but we can only do what God has called us to do, but we can do it together with each other's help. Yeah. Let me show you in scripture real quick. Ephesians 4. Ephesians chapter 4. And let me share my screen. Verse 11. He gave some as apostles and some as prophets, some as evangelists, some as pastors and teachers. Why? For the equipping of the saints, for the work of service. Notice, to the building up of the body of Christ. Now, you know, I got to go to one more verse. You know, I got to go to one more passage. I got to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 12. Yeah, the body chapter. Because we playing, y'all. We are playing with this. 1 Corinthians 12. Verse 14. For the body is not one member, but many. Verse 15. If the foot says, because I am not a hand, I am not a part of the body, is it not for this reason any the less a part of the body? And if the ear says, because I'm not an eye, I'm not a part of the body, is it not for this reason any the less a part of the body? If the whole body were an eye, where would the hearing be? Excuse me. If the whole were hearing, where would the sense of smell be? But now notice, not Saiko, not Sharon, not Nan, one of y'all has placed the members, each of them, in the body just as he desired. No, it is God. But now God has placed the members, each one of them. That's intentional, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. This is intentional. Just as he desired. Do y'all see that? Just as he theleoed, just as he decreed, just as he sovereignly desired it. Verse 19. Oh, breaking news. Hold on. Saiko, I would like to have a discussion with you on why you are a Calvinist. I would love to. Email me, bro. Email me your number and let's have it. Saiko-Woods. And welcome to the channel. Saiko-Woods. Saiko Woods with an S at yahoo.com. Make sure you put your information in there so that I don't get it as a spam, because I get a lot of emails and I don't want to put yours in the trash by accident. But email me, and matter of fact, I'll put the email right there. You can see it. Hopefully you see it right there, Don. But thank you for coming on the channel. I do appreciate that. Proverbs, you said it's a troll site? It's a troll? Okay.
It is.
Young Don Reborn, he says it's a troll site. If it's troll, that's fine. If it is, that's okay. No big. But I appreciate it, Proverbs. Thank you for putting me on that. Okay. But look what the text says in verse 19. If they were all one member, where would the body be? But now he says, verse 20, there are many members but one body, and if the eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of you, or again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. On the contrary, it is much truer that the members of the body which seem to be weaker are necessary. Listen, so we talk about our body, we talk about the spleen and all that kind of stuff. Well, it may not be important to you, it's because it's not seen, but it's important to the body. Whatever that spleen is called to do, God has it in our body for a reason. He says, verse 23, on those members of the body which we deem less honorable, on these we bestow more abundant honor. And our less presentable members become much more presentable, whereas our more presentable members have no need of it. But God has so composed the body, giving more abundant honor to that member which lacked. In other words, those things that are out in the forefront, yeah, you're already going to get to be seen and all that. But those that's not out in the forefront, God says you're just as important. You're just as valuable to those seen and those present, invisible parts of our body. And the reason why he says, so that there may be no division in the body, but that the members, may have the same care for one another. And if one member suffers, all the members suffer with it. If one member is honored, all the members rejoice with it. Now, you are Christ's body, and individually are members of it. And that's the key. We're all members of Christ's body. There's no little eyes and big eyes and little you in God's kingdom. I say this all the time. We're all slaves on God's plantation. Sheep ain't stars. We're sheep. That's it. That's all we're called to be. And if we're called to be God's sheep, then there should be no one ever thinking or having the mentality that you're better than somebody else. Right. We're all called to do God's work. We're all called to do what the Lord has called us to be. And he's called us to be faithful. He calls us to be faithful. And so I say that because this is the reason why it's important for us to always encourage each other. To encourage each other. We never know what people are going through. We never know. I know for a fact, and we're about to wrap up. I know for a fact that there have been times in my life where I've questioned whether or not the Lord wants me to continue to keep doing this thing. And he always, in the timing that he has done it, has been impeccable. Someone will ask me, do you know where I can hear or find a sermon on such and such? I'm like, yeah, I've done it. Wait a minute, you have a sermon channel? Stuff like that. Yeah. Or when it is somebody asking a question about a topic or whatever the case might be. And I point them in a direction where either it's on my channel or someone else's. And I'm saying it's those little things that God allows to speak to our hearts and let you know, I got you. Yeah. I got you. You know what I'm saying? So I just say this. I say all that to say this, brothers and sisters. We're prayerful. We're encouraged. We don't know what tomorrow is going to hold, but we definitely know the one who holds it. And we're not saying that as a cliche. God has done things in our lives that I know for a fact that it was God. I mean, the house that we live in, that was God.
Amen to that.
I'm serious. The house that we live in, it was God. Yeah. It was God. And in fact, I want to share a quick story about how we were advised. So I was counseled by well-meaning leaders. Yeah. Well-meaning financial consultants. Yeah. Well-meaning brothers in Christ who said, y'all are so far behind because of my job. Once again, hello. And other anyway. And they advised us saying, maybe you need to just sell this house and try to do a quick sale and just let it go and try to find
and get something downsized.
And what you go ahead and tell us. You're a great storyteller when you give your facts out. Go ahead.
Anyway, so once that recommendation came down, my husband, he sat there and he listened, and then he told them, I don't believe that's what God told me to do. I don't believe God is telling me to do that. And probably within a week or so, within a week, we had a friend.
Yep.
And her church pay for our to get us caught up.
Yeah.
And then not only that,
tell the story, dear. Go ahead and tell them. Tell them what God did.
Not only that, we asked the Lord to increase my husband's VA benefits so that the mortgage would be covered. He did that.
Sure did. I didn't even know that I had I didn't even know that I had service-related disabilities that I have been dealing with to this very day. Didn't even know. And a brother of mine said, bro, you need to have these people look at your medical records, because if you're dealing with this stuff is probably most likely service-related. And so what happened was I gave my medical records over to this organization who specializes in supporting veterans, making sure they get the best and most out of their benefits. Yeah. And not only did they do that, and this was during that time, not only did they do that, but they had to give me back pay for the time that I had filed. And so y'all are talking to people right now who, by God's grace, our mortgage, by God's grace, has been covered.
Yep.
Our mortgage. The United States government pays for my mortgage. Yeah. And that's just off of what they found. So we're looking at the things that God has been doing, the things that God has done, the people that God have used in our lives for whatever season and reason that He had them there and have been gone, or whatever the case might be.
Right.
And now we look back and say, okay, God did this. We know this was God. He's doing this now. And so we want to be an encouragement to you, the viewer, those who may even watch this stream later.
Yeah.
You need to make sure, number one, that when God is telling you something, you don't give up on what God is telling you. And it can come from people who mean well. Listen to me.
Be well-meaning, but if you know specifically that the Lord is speaking to your heart and to your spirit about something,
I'm trying to tell y'all.
Don't let anybody
Don't
else
let nobody sway you. Don't let them move you. That's what. Listen, faith ain't. Listen, godly, sincere faith. Remember, by the way, faith is a spiritual gift, ladies and gentlemen. God has given some people the gift of faith to believe God for the impossible. Oh, come here, Paul. Remember Paul when he was being shipwrecked out there in Acts? And he told them men. Oh, let me just go there. We got a few minutes. Do y'all mind if I go to one passage of scripture? Do y'all mind? Let me boot this clown out. Let me boot this clown. Where is this at? How do I boot him? How do I boot him? It's the way that I do it. Let me see. How do you boot him? I think it's remove from broadcast. Is that it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Y'all go ahead and boot him out. I'm gonna go and try to ban him. Appreciate you, bro. Look, see now y'all got y'all church hand up. Preach on, pastor. Take your time, pastor. Thank you, David. Yeah, ban him for life. Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks, Proverbs. Thank you, bro. Let's go here. Let's go here. And my wife had gave me some ideas as well, because I know that there have been sermons that I haven't finished preaching and have even preached, but the Lord has been giving me more things to talk about. And I'm going to be doing some Bible study and preaching and teaching on some of these things as well too, because I think
we got to find a way. We're going to find a way to put those sermons on the website as well.
Yeah.
So that they'll be accessible.
Right. And we'll definitely gonna have to do that, because I know it's needed. So let me see. I'm looking for. I'm trying to see what I want to do. This one here. Yeah, I'll go here. All right. Acts 27. Open your Bibles to Acts chapter 27. Acts chapter 27. And I'll try to wrap it up here. I just want to see the spot that I want to look for, because I know this is going to be. Okay, yeah, Acts 27. All right, let me go share the screen. All right, Acts 27. When it was decided, make sure I got my comments here so I can see y'all's comments. When it was decided that we should sail for Italy, they proceeded to deliver Paul and some other prisoners to a centurion of the Augustan cohort named Julius. And embarking in an Amadrinian ship, which was about to sail to the regions along the coast of Asia, we put out to sea, accompanied by Aristarchus, a Macedonian of Thessalonica. The next day we put in at Sidon, and Julius treated Paul with consideration and allowed him to go to his friends and receive care. From there we put out to sea and sailed under the shelter of Cyprus, because the winds were contrary. When we had sailed through the sea along the coast of Sicily, and Pamphylia, we landed at Myra in Lycia. There the centurion found an Alexandrian ship sailing for Italy, and he put us aboard it. When we had sailed slowly for a good many days, and with difficulty had arrived off Cnidus, since the wind did not permit us to go farther, we sailed under the shelter of Crete, off Salmon. And with difficulty, sailing past it, we came to a place called Fair Havens, near which was the city of Lasea. When considerable time had passed and the voyage was now dangerous, since even the fast was already over, Paul began to admonish them. Now, Paul is warning them. Paul is warning them. He says, men, I perceive that the voyage will certainly be with damage and great loss, not only of the cargo and the ship, but also of our lives. So you know what Paul is telling them? Like, look, okay, now we continue on with this, we're going to lose everything, including our lives. But the centurion was more persuaded by the pilot and the captain of the ship than what was being said by Paul. Because the harbor was not suitable for wintering, the majority reached the decision to put out to sea from there, if somehow they could reach Phoenix, a harbor of Crete facing southwest and northwest, and spend the winter there. Oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, let me just say this. Sometimes the majority ain't always right. Hello?
Oh, that's true.
Hello? Is this thing on? Yeah, the majority ain't always right. Sometimes being in the company of one who got sense is better than all of people who think they have sense.
Didn't the majority say crucify him?
Did they? Didn't they though?
Yep.
Verse 13. When a moderate south wind came up, supposing that they had attained their purpose, they weighed anchor and began sailing along Crete, close inshore. But before very long, there rushed down from a land a violent wind called the Iraquilo. And when the ship was caught in it and could not face the wind, we gave way to it and let our sails be driven along. Can you imagine being at the mercy of waves? The rudder ain't working. None of this stuff is working. You are at the mercy of the sea. Verse 16, running under the shelter of a small island called Clauda, we were scarcely able to get the ship's boat under control. After they had hoisted it up, they used supporting cables and undergirding the ship, and fearing that they might run aground on the shallows of Syrtis, they let down the sea anchor and this way let themselves be driven along. The next day, as we were being violently storm-tossed, they began to jettison the cargo. And on the third day, they threw the ship's tackle overboard with their own hands. Since neither sun nor stars appeared for many days, and no small storm was assailing us, from then on, all hope of our being saved was gradually abandoned. In other words, they're being afraid. They're scared. They said it was dark. This is what Paul was talking about, being shipwrecked a day and a night in the sea. Darkness. And these are men, by the way. These ain't no women on this ship. These are men. Verse 21. When they had gone a long time without food. Look at the text, y'all. Verse 21. Then Paul stood up in their midst and said, men, you ought to have followed my advice. In other words, y'all should have listened to me. Didn't I tell you? Paul says, you should have listened to me. You should have followed my advice and not have set sail from Crete and incurred this damage and loss. And let me say this, by the way. This is free. This is free, y'all. Praise God. Thank you, KL, for the super chat. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me share this with you all for a second. Paul said, let me let y'all see my face. Paul said, you should have listened to me. Not only you should have listened to me, but now you're suffering loss, and we could have lost our lives. Sometimes your stupid decisions and my stupid decisions cause innocent people their life, cause them their property, cause them everything. Why? Because we don't listen. Because we don't listen. That's why. Paul said, thank you, Proverbs. Paul said, you should listen to me. I know, by the way, in other words, Paul said, I told you so. Mm-hmm. See, some of us don't want to tell somebody we told them so after we didn't told them so. Sometimes you need to be heard. Sometimes that I told you so need to be heard when you've been told. Because Paul said, listen, I told y'all before we even set sail, we ought to wait. And how many times do we get in trouble by not listening and not waiting? I did a sermon. You can go on sermon audio. I may have to reteach that again, called when we refuse to wait on God. Yeah. It's the story from Samuel, and actually dealing with Saul. When Saul refused to wait, and it cost him. But notice what Paul said. He said, "You should have followed my advice," in verse 21, "and not have set sail from Crete and incurred this damaging loss." But notice the faith that he has now. In light of the foolishness of these men, Paul still has faith. Verse 22, "Yet now I urge you to keep up your courage, for there will be no loss of life among you, but only the ship. But only the ship. For this very night, an angel of the Lord, for this very night, an angel of the God to whom I belong and to whom I serve stood before me, saying, 'Do not be afraid, Paul. You must stand before Caesar, and behold, God has granted you all those who are sailing with you.'" Listen, sometimes our blessing comes through other people's obedience, even though we are disobedient. How many of us have been riding on the faith coattails of others? Come on. How many of us have been riding on the faith of others because God has given them a word, God has given them a ministry, God has given them an assignment, and you and I just going along for the ride? And since God has a calling and purpose on their life, even in the midst of some of the stupid and dumb mistakes that we make, God, for the sake of the individual that he has his hand on, covers and blesses us from our foolishness and our mess and our stupidity. Oh, I know I'm teaching. Comes again what the word says.
Thus, some of those prayers that our grandparents and parents prayed
for
us.
Come on.
When we were acting crazy.
Verse 25, "Therefore, keep up your courage, men." Notice he said it twice. Look, verse 22, "Keep your courage." Verse 25, "Therefore, keep up your courage, men, for I believe God." We can stop right there. Paul says, "For I believe God that it will turn out exactly as I have been told." Let me tell y'all something. Yes, the scriptures are clear. The scriptures are complete. We ain't looking for a Bible part 2. We're not looking for the 67th book of the Bible. No, we're not. But God has spoken some things to you and I that you know it must come to pass. And I know for some of y'all think I'm sounding spooky. I'm not sounding spooky. Listen, God has healed my body. First year we got married. Was that within the first year? Yes. The first year we got married?
Yes.
I ended up getting sick, having some what was those things on my liver?
They saw spots.
It saw spots, but it caused me to double over, and I was writhing in pain. And my wife told the Lord, "Lord, you just gave me this man, and now you about to take him from me?" And we went to the elders of our church, and the men laid hands on me. And they weren't quote unquote charismatic. This wasn't a charismatic church. Yeah. By no stretch of the imagination. They went James 5. Yeah. That man, matter of fact, when I went to have my checkup, he said to me,
he came with
me.
He sure did.
He was a deacon. He came with me.
He sure did.
Came with me. And them men laid their hands on me, and that cyst or those lumps that they saw on my liver that was causing me pain, when I went back for my checkup, they said it was gone. Matter of fact, they ran me under that EKG thing or whatever they call that thing. What is that thing? Scan. They ran me under that, whatever. I ain't no medical person. Y'all know I'm a preacher. I don't know that language. But they ran me under that scan where I had to have my whole body go through that little that thing that yeah. They had me. They injected me with some dye to make sure that whatever they saw wasn't there. They couldn't understand it. So you're not gonna tell me that God don't heal. You're not gonna tell me that God is not still a healer. Now, I'm not saying that I believe in quote unquote healers, but I do believe in the great physician.
Oh yes,
absolutely. I believe that God heals.
God heals.
He still heals today. He heals through means and he heals through miracles, both ways. So you're not gonna convince me otherwise. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. Yeah. So And I think a lot of us we need to have our faith tuned up, because there's a lot of things I believe that God is not doing in our lives because we're downplaying it. Of course, we use wisdom, but wisdom comes from God. Wisdom comes from God. And listen, James says, and if any of you lack wisdom, listen, and that if is it's the first class condition in the Greek. In other words, since you lack wisdom, and you do, let him ask of God, because we all need to be wise. And he said he gives to all men liberally without reproach. Wisdom is free if you want it. And so my encouragement to all of us tonight, I first of all, I hope and pray that you all are encouraged by what we're saying. I hope and pray that you all will stand behind us and what we're striving to do, and support this ministry, however the Lord leads you to do so. And we're trusting and believing for God to do more things. We've already prayed that for God to blow our minds. Yes. We've been praying that, Lord, blow our minds, allow our channels to grow and to blow for your glory. Yes. Because some of these channels out here are just trash. It's garbage. And we know that Satan is the God of this world, so he's going to bless his own. And sometimes you have people who profess to be Christian, that they compromise, and they make it. But you know what? I'm reminded of Asaph in Psalm 75. He said, man, when I was looking at the wicked, man, I'm like, Lord, what is this? He said, until I had to go to the house of God. Psalm 73. He said, when I was looking at how the wicked was making it and how they were prospering, he's like, man, I'm starting to feel some kind of way about this. Until I went into the sanctuary. So I'm not focusing on what other people do. Whether these people have more subscribers than I do, and they didn't have it when I first started, when they first started, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. Unlike the proverb, he says, give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with what is my portion. That's it. Because when you are content and when you're faithful in the little, God says, I can bless you with more. So the subscribers I got, I praise God. But I want God to do more because I want to reach more for his glory. We want to reach more for his glory. And so that involves all of us. We need each other. We're not independent. We are interdependent. We need each other to grow. We need each other to get the word out. And we need each other to make this gospel so relative and so real that we are the living epistles that Paul talks about. Read before all men. And we all have a story. But our story is behind the veil of the ultimate story, and that is Christ. That he came to this earth to give his life a ransom for many. And some of us are living witnesses and testimonies of his saving and amazing grace. So how dare we hoard that gift and not get the word out and not support ministries who strive to get this word out? Yes. How dare we? Your style is your style. My style is my style. Our style is our style for the glory and honor of God. So let's continue to support the body of Christ. Let's continue to keep encouraging each other. There's some of you who need to call somebody and let them know you've been thinking about them. You don't know why the Lord has been putting them on your mind, but they may need that word of encouragement. Yeah. It's not always about dollars, y'all.
But it just may need to hear your voice.
Yeah, I mean, it's just simple, like simple text message, simple email, whatever the case might be. You know what God is doing. So let's do what God has called us to do for his glory. I'm done. Are you done? Are we done? We good?
I think so, dear.
You good?
Yeah.
All right. So hopefully you all have heard our heart, and we definitely appreciate you all for joining us on this live. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments below. Please share this video. Please like this video. Please also like the Love Life and Marriage channel. Please subscribe to the channel. We would really appreciate that, because this is how we get the word out as well. Got a super chat. Let me see where I got. Let me go. Where is this at? Let's see where we got. Okay, David. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much for the super chat. And if anybody else I've missed, thank you for the super chat. I'm toggling back and forth between both our channels, the Love Life and Marriage one and also the BCV one. But brother, thank you so much for that. Moderators, also thank you as well. Bobby, thank you. Thank you for your prayers and your support as well too, and encouragement. We definitely appreciate it, Bobby. But yeah, so tomorrow I have not put up the promo for the live, but it's going to be low one tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to do a response or reaction video to Jason Whitlock and Patrick Bet David. I'm going to do a response video to that and the whole issue that has been going back and forth with these two gentlemen. I do believe there's a perspective that's being missed in this whole issue, and so I'm gonna address that Lord willing tomorrow on the next live. So if you're able to tune into it. I'll put the promo link up. If not tonight, I'll put it up in the morning first thing because I'm always the first one to get up in the morning anyway.
Yes,
everybody else is asleep.
Hey.
Everybody else is asleep. So yeah, everybody is asleep on your brother. But listen, again, thank you all for your prayers. Thank you for the encouraging words. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the support. Thank you for your love gifts. Thank you those who have been supporting us through the through Cash App and Zelle, and I've seen you on the phone as well too. Thank you all so much for that. We really do appreciate that, and we want to be putting out more content. So keep us in your prayers on that, because it's just us. We're the ones that's basically doing this work. We don't have no team yet, but Lord willing, the Lord sees the same and says the same. We will do that. But anyway, but that is our time. And we do thank you so much for yours. And until next time, bye.
You put your big old hand in my face.
See, y'all see how she treats me? I didn't even say bye yet. I didn't know I didn't say bye yet.
You did.
No, I'm not going to say bye yet because, see, I feel hurt. I feel triggered.
You did say bye. I'm
saying bye. She's going to probably beat me out once I get off this thing.
Stop that.
Do I need a wink? Bye.